Once upon a time, on the 5th day of the 5th month of the lunar calendar, known as the Dragon Boat Festival, in the Jiangsu and Zhejiang regions, a tradition of racing dragon boats on rivers and lakes had developed. Large tree trunks were split in half, hollowed out, and carved into the shape of dragons. These dragon boats were adorned with dragon scales, painted with gold to shimmer and shine. Carved wooden structures resembling houses were erected on the boats, adorned with flower patterns, and supported by red railings. The tail of the dragon boat rose about a zhang 3 meters high, with ropes hanging down from the carved dragon spine, where children would perform acrobatic stunts, flips, and dances. Below the dragon boat was the rolling river, and the dangerous games often resulted in participants falling into the water if they weren't careful, causing a sense of excitement and fear for spectators. Therefore, trainers specifically trained children to perform these stunts. They lured the parents of these children with high amounts of money, and assured them that their children would become a money tree if they became famous performers. However, in case of accidents leading to death, there was no turning back. In the Suzhou region, young and beautiful women were often placed on the dragon boats, which differed slightly from other areas. At that time in Zhenjiang, there was a boy named Duan from the Zhang family. He was only 7 years old, but he was agile and skillful. His performances on the boat were unmatched, and his reputation grew over the years. By the age of 16, people still wanted to invite him to participate in the dragon boat races. However, in that particular year, during a dragon boat race, on the Jinshan River in Zhenjiang, a Duan accidentally fell into the river and drowned. He was the only son of his mother, and her grief was immeasurable. After falling into the river, a Duan didn't realize he had died. He felt that he was being guided by two people to a place that seemed different from the water's surface. He found himself surrounded by water on all sides, like walls of water. Soon, he arrived at a palace where a man in armor was seated. The two people guiding him said, "That person is the Prince of Dragon's Lair." They told Duan to kneel. The prince spoke kindly to him and said, "With your skills, you should go to the Willow Branch department." Duan was then taken to a large courtyard. As he walked along the eastern corridor, he was greeted by many teenagers, most around 13 or 14 years old. Later, an old woman named Ji Lao came over. She was addressed as Grandmother Ji. After she sat down, she had everyone demonstrate their dragon boat skills. And then she taught them the Qiantang Fei Tian dance and the Diangtang Hfeng music. Drums and gongs sounded loudly, filling the palace with echoes that could be heard throughout the courtyards. After that, Ji Lao worried that Duan might not immediately grasp the dance, so she personally guided and adjusted his movements. However, Duan quickly understood each step as if he had already known them. Ji Lao couldn't help but praise, "Having this child surpasses even that child from the Evening Glow department." The next day, the Prince of Dragon's Lair gathered all the performing departments together for a reporting performance. The first group to perform was the Yecha department, consisting of performers with ghost-like faces wearing clothes resembling fish skin. They played large gongs with a diameter of more than 4 feet and a drum that required 4 people to hold. The sound was thunderous, overshadowing all other noises. The ghostly dance created surging waves, like a tumultuous sea, and then dissolved like starlight, leaving no trace. The second group was the Rying department, composed of young women. They danced gracefully to the sound of the flute. The wind seemed to blow gently, and the water's waves became silent, forming a crystal world, translucent above and below. After the dance, they stood under the western platform with the rest of their group. Next came the Yanzi department, consisting of underage girls. Among them was a young girl, no older than 14 or 15. Who twirled her long sleeves and hair like a goddess scattering flowers. Colorful flowers appeared around her, swaying with her movements, filling the courtyard in no time. After the dance, the girl joined the rest of the Yanzi department under the western platform. Duan looked over and was taken by the girl's beauty. He asked someone in the same department, who told him that she was Evening Glow. Soon, it was time for the Liaozhai department to perform. The Prince of Dragon's Lair wanted to test Duan. Duan performed his dance, expressing emotions in sync with the singing, controlled in his gestures, and showing restraint in his movements. The prince was highly satisfied, praised his quick understanding, and awarded him a colorful jumpsuit with fish-like patterns made of gold thread and embedded with a large night-bright pearl. After expressing his gratitude to the prince, Duan returned to the western platform and joined his group. He kept glancing at Evening Glow from a distance, and she was doing the same. Eventually, Duan couldn't resist and moved closer to her. She began walking towards him as well until they were just a few steps apart. Due to strict discipline, they couldn't disrupt the formation. They could only look at each other with longing, the feeling of love at first sight overwhelming them. The GD department performed next, with boys and girls dancing together, dressed in identical yellow and white costumes. After all the departments had performed, they exited in order. Duan's Liaozhai department followed Evening Glow's Yanzi department. Duan hurried to the front of the formation, while Evening Glow had fallen to the back, becoming the rear of the Yanzi department. They walked forward, Duan leading and Evening Glow trailing behind. As they walked, Evening Glow turned her head, deliberately dropping a coral hairpin to the ground. Duan quickly picked it up and put it in his sleeve. Upon returning, Duan felt restless and couldn't eat or sleep. Jilao, worried about his well-being, came to visit, bringing him delicious food. She visited him 3 or 4 times a day, comforting him with her touch. But Duan's condition didn't improve. Jilao expressed concern, saying, "The great longevity day of Wujiang King is approaching. How can you continue like this?" One evening, a boy entered and sat by Duan's bed. He said, "I'm from the Jiadi department. Is your illness related to Evening Glow?" Duan was surprised and asked how the boy knew. The boy smiled and replied, "Evening Glow is in the same situation." Hearing this, Duan sat up sadly and asked the boy if he had a solution. The boy asked, "Can you still walk?" Duan said, "I can manage a few steps." The boy helped him out of the room and led him through corridors, eventually stopping in front of a room. He told Duan, "Evening Glow is in this room." Duan's heart raced, and he entered the room. Inside, he found Evening Glow lying on a bed, looking pale. She was surprised to see him and asked how he knew she was there. Duan explained that a boy from the Jiadi department had told him. Evening Glow revealed that she had sent the boy to find him, hoping that they could meet. They talked about their feelings for each other and their yearning to be together. Evening Glow confessed that she had heard about a way to leave the palace and find their way back to the mortal world. The method involved finding a small boat under the Tai-Bai Pavilion and sailing it across the river on the Rainbow Bridge. There, they would find a path leading to the mortal world. Duan was overjoyed and asked when they could escape. Evening Glow hesitated, explaining that they would need to wait for the right time. When the palace was focused on the great longevity day of Wujiang King, she also warned Duan that they would face challenges and dangers, as leaving the palace was strictly forbidden. But Duan was determined to be with Evening Glow, no matter the risks. They made plans to meet under the Tai-Bai Pavilion on the designated day. Duan returned to his room, feeling hopeful and excited for their upcoming escape. As the great longevity day of Wujiang King approached, the palace was bustling with preparations. Duan and Evening Glow's anticipation grew stronger each day. Finally, the day arrived. The palace was adorned with colorful decorations, and everyone was busy with their assigned tasks. Under the Tai-Bai Pavilion, Duan and Evening Glow met. Their hearts raced as they looked at the small boat by the riverbank. They knew that their decision would change their lives forever. Holding hands, they stepped onto the boat and pushed it into the water. The Rainbow Bridge shimmered in the distance, inviting them to cross. As they sailed across the river, their excitement mixed with nervousness. They knew that their love and determination were guiding them towards a new chapter of their lives. The challenges and adventures that awaited them were unknown, but they faced them together, hand in hand, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. And so, a Duan and Evening Glow's journey continued beyond the boundaries of the Dragon Palace, as they embarked on a path that would test their love, courage, and resilience. The mortal world awaited, full of mysteries and possibilities, and they were determined to shape their own destiny.